Did you like what you saw in 2023 of Alex Highsmith? Did you feel he was a $14 million a year player? If not, bear with me. This could be a good thing. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates, the same place that you found this, and I hope you'll check those out as well. I'm of the opinion that this defense as a whole will continue to be, as it's been for the better part of this decade, the thing that kind of carries the Steelers along. I get it that nobody will want that to be the case, and I get it that nobody really even seems to want to talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about quarterbacks and all that other stuff, the fun stuff on the other side of the football. But the fact, and I do mean fact, unfortunate or otherwise, is that the salary cap distribution continues to be 2-1 in favor of the defense over the offense. And while I understand why, if you have younger players on one side, they're going to be getting paid less, it doesn't alter that expectations should be higher. And again, that's fine. That's fine, as long as they are all that. And my contention, which is being offered to you here in late June with very little value, is that they will be all that. They certainly can be. If you look at the talent that's interspersed through all three levels of this defense, I'd say it's harder now than it's been in years to find, what's that weak spot? What's that area where everyone's going to go, oh, if only they could shore this up, they'd be fine. What is that? Is there even a player, a single player, where you can say, oh, no, but that guy, you're going to have to find a way to help him out? And I understand, before I even mention any of these individuals or the levels or anything, that the first thing you got to do is go knock on some wood somewhere and hope that everybody stays on the field. That begins, I'd say, with Cam Hayward, considering the rough year that he just had, but he's the one that's making the case to get paid as if he's still elite. He believes he's a top 3 performer at his specific position in the NFL, still in his mid-30s. He had a surgery to fix up the broken groin. That was his term for it, by the way, not mine, broken groin. And though motivation is never an issue with 97, one would imagine he'll be more motivated than ever. So let's presume he'll be there. Let's presume also that there will be a little bit of rotation to make sure that he doesn't have to be out there for every single snap, although I'd imagine he will be. Between Cam, Larry Ogunjobi, and the second year, the big rise, maybe the biggest upshot of any player on this side of the ball in terms of improvement, Keanu Benton, what would anyone be worried about at the line? No, the depth isn't great. You're still talking about a whole lot of DeMarvin Leal and Isaiah Loudermilk. And yeah, I suppose you could get rookies involved, but there isn't a weakness there, and that's my point. Edge rushers I can get through in a blazing hurry just by mentioning TJ Watt, Highsmith, and now newly elevated to number 3, Nick Herbig. You've got yourself some weapons there. But the reason that I singled out Alex at the top of the show is that Alex is one of those classic cases, along with a certain safety I'm going to get to, who weren't at their best, I think, in 2023. In Alex's case, it wasn't because of injury, it was just because of performance. He wasn't terrible. He was solid. He was dependable. But when your sacks get cut in literal half from 14 to 7, when your forced fumbles go from 5 to 2, when even your basic tackles take a little bit of a dip, not much, 6 fewer tackles, then you didn't exactly do what I'm describing is going to happen with Cam. You didn't sign the big contract and then through to some other level. And remember, TJ was there for all 17 regular season games, so it's not like Highsmith was getting any kind of special attention. Let's have faith, I say, in who Highsmith is as a person and as a player, And I think we've all seen the best of that and say, okay, this is a really, really, really strong position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving on to the inside linebackers, I'm not about to come up with a negative syllable about the work for a half season that Cole Holcomb, Quan Alexander, and Landon Roberts did. But with the first two of those going down and Roberts stretched to his limits over the second half, we saw what that position looks like all over again when it's getting taxed and beaten up and pushed around and pulling Miles Jack off the couch. That is not what we're looking at in 2024. Do I have to remind everybody on a weekly basis, like with a full episode, that Patrick Queen is here? I probably should, huh? Well, here it is for this week. Patrick Queen is here, and he's real, and he's very, very, very good at what he does. So having Queen and Roberts, and oh, by the way, Peyton Wilson, who I expect is actually going to become the starter, provided things go well in terms of communication and sync and everything else in Latrobe, this group is going to take a step forward, a big step forward, I believe, from where it was in the first half of last season. Maybe a huge step. And right behind them, Deshaun Elliott is going to be the safety who's working with Minkah Fitzpatrick. According to Terrell Austin a couple of weeks ago, you're going to see a lot of effort on the Steelers' part to make sure that Minkah is free to roam. He's free to hunt. And by that, of course, I'm referencing the football. That's when the Steelers' defense is most dangerous. They had 27 takeaways last season, which was very good. But you definitely want Minkah playing what he himself referred to as Minkah ball back in minicamp. So, I forget anything? Oh, yeah, corners. Because all you've been doing through this entire segment is shouting, corners, corners, dude, start talking about corners. Well, Joey Porter Jr. is on one side, so we don't have to talk about that. The Steelers have legitimately liked Dante Jackson for a long time. They've made no secret of that. They've got him in the Deontay Johnson trade from the Panthers. I have no idea at this stage whether or not that faith is going to be well-founded, but I will say that out of the perceived starting 11 on this defense, that the other corner positions in whatever form are going to be a little bit of a mystery, not too much. I think it's pretty safe to say Cam Sutton's going to be your starting nickel guy, and that he can be formally counted out of the outside equation. So Jackson will start. He'll have some depth provided by the likes of Darius Rush, Beanie Bishop. And don't forget about Corey Trice Jr. I know some of you ask about him on a regular basis, but I also know that some of you, at least I get this sense, don't remember that he exists. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. This kid can really play. And if the Steelers were to have two of these rangy, handsy type of physical corners taking people away on either side, oh my. Oh my. You could turn a question mark into an exclamation point so fast. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George. LGKG is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents people hurt in car accidents or who need help with workers' comp or medical malpractice. When the attorneys at LGKG make you a promise, they keep it. They've been keeping promises in our region for over 80 years. LGKG's been AV rated, the highest rating a law firm can receive, and they've been designated super lawyers. That's actually a thing for over 15 years. It's a rare combination. LGKG has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them by visiting lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. LGKG. Today's J1Q comes from Ethan, who says, could the Steelers go after a fourth cornerback, DK? While wide receiver is the likeliest need, how much faith do we really have in Dante Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. as the only outside corners, as well as Cam Sutton as the only slot guy? A fourth, more versatile corner might be a good investment. Well, Ethan, I mentioned Darius Rush in the last segment. And Rush has shown some versatility of his own, and he showed some good things, I think, over the final month and change of the 2023 season that really shouldn't be forgotten by anybody, least of all the coaching staff. I happen to share your view that some depth would help, but you didn't mention Trice either. This is kind of what I'm getting at here. And I understand this. There are people who paid a lot of attention to his first handful of snaps over the summer a year ago, but he went down almost right away in Latrobe and never gave anybody a chance to see what he could do in, greater heat of the battle. I happen to think a lot of this kid, both in terms of his potential and his personality. One of my favorite things that he said to me, this was just a little while ago, was that he's trying to treat this coming year, as year 2 in the NFL, the same way that Calvin Austin did, in the same spirit. Like Austin, Trice was in all the meeting rooms with all the corners. He was absorbing as much as he could, even with the knee blown out and knowing 100% he had no chance of coming back to play or even practice. Now, I can't attest to what his physical level of readiness is other than to share that when he's been out there practicing, he's shown no signs of being held back in any way. He doesn't wear a knee brace anymore, or to be more specific, anything on the knee. But I say all this, and I understand that this isn't exactly the type of position that you throw anybody into. Remember that Porter wasn't even thrown into it right away. Anyone making a mistake at this position is going to cost you 6. So I guess what I'm saying here is, if you're asking about even more in terms of numbers, I'll absolutely listen as it relates to slot corner. But I don't think that at this stage you'd have Omar Khan going, wow, I really need to load up more guys here. I think they feel comfortable with both the quality and the quantity that they have within reason. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers, and we're going to do another one of these tomorrow.